We've been debating how it went down. I think there's a little bit more clarity after hearing from Danny Ainge, who spoke to the media a couple days ago. Gordon Hayward as well on the same day talked about things. One thing became perfectly clear. Gordon didn't want to be
Hayward
here.
Hates the Celtics.
Gordon Hayward didn't want to be in Boston, and Danny knew it. And no matter what, even though it was, and we were right in saying Plan A should have been Hayward. They tried. He wanted nothing to do with it. So then it is what it is. And I think whether it's the city, it seemed to be mainly the fit. He wants to be the man again. Didn't want to be fourth fiddle. That's what happens. You pack a team with too many stars. Somebody's going to get a little, Jesus. It happened to Ray Allen 10 seconds into year one of 2008, but he played his role out. But he definitely didn't love being third fiddle to KG and Pierce, but he went through it and then he left. I mean, whatever. But
well, he didn't leave like a year later.
No. He did his.
I mean, because he went into it knowing that,
But everybody's got that because you're used to being the man, then you're not the man. And not only was he not the man, he was. Each year, he became less and less of the man. Like, now Tatum's good, so you got to take fewer shots. So he left. Where we're back to is, was he going to wait on Charlotte the whole time, or was there something that could have been done with Indiana, and that's where he would have wanted to go? So I do want to point out a couple of things here, just the quotes that were out there. One thing that Gordon Hayward said that stuck out to me was just talking about it, this and that, and then he's like, I looked at my agent and I said, let's just do this Charlotte thing. I don't think that was his first choice. I think his first choice was Indiana. I think Indiana really wanted him. Then the question is just going to come down to, did Danny get completely caught off guard by Charlotte coming out of nowhere and not think it was a real threat? Or did he always know it was possible and was willing to let it happen? I still don't really know what the answer to that is. But after listening to these guys talk, what do you guys think?
I think you're onto something there. I mean, the Jordan thing, the phone calls is what gets me. I mean, he says that now there's 2 phone calls, right? Before there was only one. There was the one Friday night or whatever Friday phone call that he received from Jordan where they spoke, 24 hours before he made his decision. What was that first initial phone call like? And if I had to guess, it's about a lot of the conversation that they had 4 years ago when they were trying to get him to leave Utah to come to Charlotte. It happened before. Here we are again. Don't make the same mistake twice. Yada, yada, yada. Something to that effect, right? And I think that was sort of always in his back pocket. Yeah, going back home, playing back in Indianapolis, there was a lot of attraction to that. But I think, to what Danny Ainge said in the press conference, being a featured player, I think that means a lot to him still. I think he still thinks because of what he did this past season, and kudos to him, we've been giving him props, Bobby, the utmost. Reminding us how good he was this year. I think that sparked a huge, motivation, obviously, into Gordon. And then the worst thing that could have happened were in the postseason, we just talked about how Kemba was so banged up. Gordon Hayward, your secondary playmaker, could have came in there, carried that team over. Who knows? Maybe they make it to the NBA Finals if he's completely healthy. Maybe, him with the 80%, 70% Kemba Walker gets you there. We'll never know. But I think that was the devastating blow to Gordon. I think Gordon was so a bit torn. I don't think he knew, I don't think he was dreaming about Charlotte in the postseason. But I do think that he was looking at the postseason as this is my time this is my redemption song. I'm going to go off here. I'm going to carry this in. And 5 minutes into the, similar to his tenure with the Celtics, 5 minutes into the postseason, boom, he's out. And he just wasn't himself. And I think that was the beginning of the end. I mean, the role in Charlotte, I think, is significant. But, Indiana going back home, that's a tough, decision to be in the middle of. But the money spoke volumes. Michael Jordan spoke volumes. Those conversations, they went a long way. And these are conversations that they've had for the past 4 to 5 years. I mean, Gordon he clearly hasn't forgotten that. And I think that was in his back of his mind.
I know,
but that phone call and it was official.
I keep going back to those 2 days. And that's what I think it all comes down to is if he was talking with Jordan and Charlotte was always in play and the money was what it was, which it was, was
it always 120 though? Maybe it wasn't, John. Maybe the second phone call pushed the extra 20 mil.
I don't think there's any. I just don't see it. I think there's no reason to extend. You just walk on Tuesday. You just walk out. There's no reason to extend that window with the Celtics. That was a negotiating window. Obviously, at this point, not for the Celtics to negotiate a deal. Because
you're talking about the. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about when he the option when he extended the deadline. Okay, gotcha.
Kicking that option from the Tuesday to the Thursday to me is again. I'm going to keep coming back to it. Is we've pieced together now that okay, we surmised maybe that meant the Celtics were still working on the extension with him, and maybe they'd go up a year. Maybe they were working.
No, it makes no sense that they want to keep him, and they were deep in trade negotiations. No, they knew they couldn't keep him.
They knew they couldn't keep him, which means the only reason to extend there.
Yeah,
both sides agreed on. Both sides agreed on was because they wanted to work the Indiana trade, which meant Gordon wanted to go there, and that was really the best option for the Celtics. That's the only thing that makes sense when you play it all out, because now we've eliminated the possibility of keeping him. It's out the window. He didn't want it. Danny knew it. Nothing you could do. That 2-day window existed only to negotiate a trade. Danny said 4 teams, but it seems like Indiana was the one that he was working closest with. And if Gordon, imagine if it was 4 teams, if Gordon extended that window by 2 days to go to one of 4 teams, that means Charlotte might have been his 5th option when Danny couldn't swing a deal,
Well, you have to consider some teams that didn't have cap space too. Like I know Portland had interest in him. They had no way to sign him, not even close. Then Robert Covington falls into place there. Atlanta, as we know, interest there. They moved on to other things. And New York, of course, too, started filling things up. So there were a number of different options here that the Celtics could have played ball with. And you talk about Charlotte, too, being a sign and trade option. They didn't get a ton from them, but they ultimately did get something from them. I think the development you have to consider here, too, because we heard the packages that the Celtics could have got from Indiana, whether it was Victor Oladipo, TJ Warren, as Ainge would have wanted, or just a Turner, McDermott, first-round pick kind of package.
Don't think TJ was in there. I really don't.
No, there's no way they were going to do that. That's what Ainge was pushing for, if you believe the Washburn report. So we get into what happened in LA, and this is what I keep emphasizing, because all along I said Tristan Thompson had no way of going to the Celtics. It was a dream. We talked about it, Jimmy, during our free agent special. We both would have loved Thompson here. I think he was a guy who would have loved to have gone to the Lakers and played center, or the Clippers, as they lost Montrezl Harrell there, which was a huge surprise. So that domino falls. The Clippers sign Ibaka for the same deal as Thompson. All of a sudden, the Celtics are in this negotiation with Indiana. They're not getting what they want out of it. They have a chance to sign Thompson if they don't do this Indiana deal. You go do the Thompson deal, because it comes down to Miles Turner versus Tristan Thompson. I think you take Tristan Thompson every time.
That's crazy. Okay, my turn. What I think happened. I think, yes, there was mutual interest between Celtics and Gordon Hayward in getting a deal done to go to the Pacers.
For sure.
The part that we don't know, and we'll never know, probably, is what were the Pacers really offering Gordon Hayward? Maybe that was the holdup. Maybe Gordon Hayward wanted to go to the Pacers more than the Pacers wanted Gordon Hayward, and they were working on maybe trying to get that $100 million offer up to a point where Gordon would accept it. When the Pacers didn't, he said, okay, I'm going to, agent, get it done with Charlotte. And Danny Ainge, of course, it's in Danny Ainge's best interest to extend that deadline if there's a trade involved, because he knows that once Gordon Hayward goes to free agency, he's shit out of luck. Pardon my French. But so, of course, he's going to extend it. Oh, yeah, Gordon, you don't want to come here. That sucks. We'd love to have you back. But if you want to go to Indy, if you want to go to, Team B.
The Celtics had to get it done for him.
Via trade, the Celtics had to get done for him. But the other team has to give Gordon Hayward an offer that he wants. Gordon Hayward has the ability to.
Was it about the money for him?
I don't think so.
I think so. I think it was partly. I mean, he took
a little bit.
120.
It was $30 million.
Yeah, I mean, but
that's why I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan just.
The reason I don't think so,
he came in with another offer.
Because he opted out.
The reason I don't think so is because he can opt out, listen to everybody, and Danny can still say, I mean, I don't know. I think that window was there to make a deal because he wanted it to get done, and that was it didn't get done. The question again is, did Danny overplay it and wait too long? I don't think he did. Hold out for too much. Or
here's my frustration. Here's my frustration with that notion. You just do anything with them. Just take whatever Indiana wants to give you. Just take it because it's something. And they ultimately did get something out of it. They get Thompson and they get the exception and they get flexibility.
I believe the exception. I believe Turner and whatever you got back from Indiana will be better than what you get for the exception.
The problem with that,
that's
though,
what I believe.
Bobby, that might turn out to be true. I mean,
and so that's the thing is that's the math. Not Turner, not Thompson for half the money that Turner would have been. I believe Turner and whatever you get plus that salary that you can kind of hold on to and use as an asset maybe down the road is going to be better than anything they use the TPE on.
Well, they gain something out of it, and they lose something by doing Indiana too. You lose the full mid-level, so you can't sign a full mid-level player there, and you lose flexibility to make a trade, as we say again and again. Why were we even thinking of doing this Indiana trade? To get trade flexibility, to get a player that would be tradable from there.